Hello everyone, we are now going to learn about the quadratic formula. Now, some of you may have already learned about the quadratic formula back in algebra, and you may just need a reminder. So that is what we're going to be doing for this lesson. So, concept, quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So all we're doing is going to be plugging numbers in and simplifying. That's it. So the quadratic formula provides solutions of the quadratic equation in standard form. So remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So it has to be equal to 0. All right, let's go over the steps to use the quadratic formula. Step number 1, identify your a, b, and c. Then plug a, b, and c into the quadratic formula. And finally, simplify. Now, it's going to be more than just simplify. You may have to simplify 2, 3, maybe 4 times. So there will probably be a lot of simplifying going on. All right, so let's do our first 2 examples. So we have 2x squared plus 5x minus 29, or minus 25, my apologies. So our a is 2, our b is 5, and our c is negative 25. So now that we have our a, b, and c identified, we're going to plug into the quadratic formula. So negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 25 all over 2 times 2. All right, now we need to simplify. So I do 2 simplifyings in this step. I simplify the multiplication in the bottom, and then I simplify underneath the square root. Now, what's nice is if you plug exactly what you see here into your calculator, parentheses and all, like you see here, and hit enter, your calculator will do the work for you. So plug that whole thing in. So we get negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 225 all over 4. Next thing we're going to do, simplify the square root. I always check if it's a perfect square. So I always go to my calculator and take the square root of it. If I get a whole number, perfect. So negative 5 plus or minus 225 is a perfect square, 15 all over 4. So at this point, what we're going to do now is split apart. And what I mean by that is we have a plus or a minus, so that gets split apart into negative 5 plus 15 all over 4, and then negative 15, or negative 5 minus 15 all over 4. And then we simplify those. Negative 5 plus 15 is 10 over 4. Negative 15 minus 15 is negative 20 over 4. And keep simplifying till you cannot simplify anymore. 10 over 4 can be simplified to 5 over 2. Negative 20 over 4 simplifies to negative 5. So we have x is equal to 5 halves and negative 5. So you just keep simplifying till you can't simplify no more. All right, our next one. 4x squared plus 3x minus 20 is equal to negative 3x plus 8. This is not equal to 0. So I'm going to add 3x and I'm going to subtract 8. So we have 4x squared plus 6x minus 28 is equal to 0. Again, identify our a, b, and c. So our a is 4, our b is 6, our c is negative 28. So now we are going to plug in to our quadratic formula. So negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times negative 28 all over 2 times 4. Again, simplify everything underneath the square root and the bottom number. So we get negative 6 plus or minus the square root. When I plug this whole thing into my calculator, I get 484 all over 8. Now we simplify the square root. Square root of 484 is a perfect square, and we get 22 all over 8. Since it was a perfect square and we no longer have any square roots, we are now going to break it apart. So negative 6 plus 22 all over 8. Negative 6 minus 22 all over 8. Now we simplify. Negative 6 plus 22 is 16 all over 8, which is equal to 2. The negative 6 minus 22 is negative 28 all over 8. And then that will simplify to negative 7 over 4. So x is equal to 2, comma, negative 7 over 4. So these first two examples that we did here for the quadratic formula, we had perfect squares. So these are our nice ones when we get perfect squares at this step. The next few examples we're going to do on the next page are what happens when you don't get perfect squares.